Mount encrypted HFS in Ubuntu. I tried to mount an encrypted HFS plus partition in Ubuntu. An older post described quite good how to do it, but lacks the information how to use encrypted partitions. What I've found so far is but once I run this I get the following error. So I tried to type it in twice, but that results in this. Any suggestions?
You can't mount an HFS plus partition encrypted in OS X using mounts option encryption equals ICE. The reason is that encrypted HFS plus partitions and volumes use a proprietary format. Neither CryptoLoop nor LoopICE, which are the underlying decryption methods used by mount and encryption, understand that format. This is what I found out. CryptoLoop can mount partitions or disk images encrypted as a single ICE block. This is called single key mode. See this URL. ICE loop can mount single key, like above, and multi-key encrypted partitions or disk images. On the other hand, an encrypted HFS plus partition includes a header. You can dump it with XXD. Uses several keys in an undocumented way, see this URL. Beginning with OS X 10.7 Lion, it is wrapped in a core storage logical volume group, see, man disk util, or this URL. Uses ICE XDS. Which doesn't seem to be supported by CryptoLoop nor LoopICE. CryptoLoop's successor, dencrypt, can't read encrypted HFS plus either. But before all hope is gone, a group of cryptographic experts have created VefDecrypt, included in Ubuntu package DMG2 tar.gs is here, this URL, which decrypts encrypted file vault disk images. It won't work with device files. This tool looks very promising but didn't work with any of several encrypted disk images I created with disk utility on OS X 10.8.2 Mountain Lion. Other people, this URL, seem to have had success with old encrypted images. Other experts work on Project Lafayette, this URL, which includes command fuddymount for reading file vault encrypted system volumes. The limiting factor here is system volume. It doesn't support partitions on removable media. If you're curious, the description is here, this URL. The source code can be downloaded here, this URL. As for the error messages you encountered. First error. Surprisingly, Mount enforces long passwords not only for encryption but also for decryption, although you may not have control over the partition to decrypt. You can only get around this nuisance by downloading and editing the source and recompiling. Other distributions, like SUSE Linux Enterprise Server, SULS, don't have this restriction. Second error. You need to load the CryptoLoop kernel module. Because although you installed packaged loopice utils, you are not using loopice. Loopice uses several modified user space tools: mount, amount, low setup, swap on and swap off, provided by loopice utils, and a modified loop.co kernel module. Recent Ubuntu versions compile an unmodified loop module into the kernel. So loopice can't be used on Ubuntu out of the box. You need to patch and recompile the kernel as explained here, this URL. That's why mount still needs cryptoloop. If you still get a similar error message after loading cryptoloop.co, the encryption type may be not recognized. For example, my Ubuntu 12.04 didn't recognize ICE128, but ICE. So it only recognizes ICE128.
Actually, there is Java Applications Explorer that is able to open encrypted.dmg files and creates decrypted.dmg images which can be mounted in Linux. I was able to create encrypted.dmg files in MOS x10.9.5 and then explore the image from a virtual machine running Ubuntu 14.04.2 LTS. Both ICE128 and ICE256 encryption worked for my test cases. This is how I created the .dmg image. From the virtual machine running Ubuntu, I was able to open the image. It prompts for a password and then shows the content of the image. There is an option, Tools in GT, Create Disk Image, which creates an decrypted disk image which can then be mounted with the HFS tools from Linux. Even HFS plus Journal of File Systems worked. The only limitation is that the write support to HFS plus J-file systems is disabled by default in Linux. This demonstrates that the encryption of .dmg is understood by HFS Explorer and could possibly be implemented in the mount command. With creating an unencrypted .dmg, it is possible to mount the image in Linux ultimately. FTcrypt did not work for me either.
If you want to appreciate it, please consider subscribing.